tell my friends stand by me only if I'm right. I come out in triple darkness just to see the light. If I say it once, I guarantee I say it twice. If they want me, I ain't going out without a fight. In my dreams, I'm a killer, but for God, man. Try to play it cool, but it's getting hard, man. Rolling with the real and death to all the frauds, man. Not too many of me, yeah, it's kinda hard, man. In my room, sitting in my room. Know they waiting on me and I'm coming soon. Never been a sellout, never been a coon. Y'all be on the camera acting like I'ma show 'em how true and independent get it. Whole game changed by the time I'm finished with it. We about to get this business handled in a minute.
Welcome to the B2M Crew podcast, where five brothers who have been friends for over 40 years get together to discuss our relationship, our parenting, our 12 sons out of 13 children, our combined 100 years of marriage, just chopping it up, bringing to you some content about some topics that are of utmost importance in terms of parents, community, and family. I'm your boy, Nuevo Black. I'm joined to my man, on my right over here by my man, John J.G. Yates.
What up,
next to him is one of the owners of Win Production Studio down here in Fayetteville, Georgia, Talik. His brother Waki, who we call the world's ambassador, and our brother Muhammad, brother J Moo over there. What's going on today, fellas?
Peace and blessing.
What's up, fam?
Hey, man, we back at it, man.
Friday.
Seems like it's been a minute since we recorded, right?
In a new spot.
It's a good Friday. We down in Fayetteville, Georgia. We're also here to celebrate the grand opening of the Win Production Studio. Our executive producer, Tyreek Wynn of iHeartMedia, and OG over here, Talik, opened a brand new, wonderful studio. We're going to have to show this to you all before we get out of here. So we're broadcasting the B2M Crew's first podcast down here in the new studio.
Yes.
Our studio location down in the suburbs of Atlanta. So
Nice.
Shout out to them, man. It's a great accomplishment, man. Wonderful thing. So we're glad to be here recording. Today we have a very, very important topic. You know, we talk a lot about raising our sons. James, you also have a daughter, of course, and giving people some feedback around, you know, what the experience was like, what we share with them, what we focused on. But now we all have children that are out of high school.
Yes, sir.
We can say that
Let's
now because
go.
Gabriel, shout out to Gabriel.
Let's
just
go.
graduated
Yes, sir.
last
Let's
week.
go.
Right,
Headed to
all right,
Radford
baby boy.
University. Yeah, I know John felt good about that. 3 sons out of the house, graduated. But now we have adult children. So what does parenting look like with adult children? And is it even right to call it parenting at this point? It's a good question, right?
Yeah.
So are we still parenting? I guess you could say that because we're parents. But my question is, are we parenting? Are we mentoring? Are we guiding? Are
All
we
of that.
supporting? What does
All
it
of
look
that.
like as adults? So the leading question is, how has your relationship with your children changed once they become adults? I'm going to hit you with that first, J Moo.
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure that it has changed. I would say the most consistent thing is there's still an underlying frustration at times. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because I guess as young parents, it's frustrating because it's very new. You know, in some areas it can be frustrating. But then the difference of frustration as they are adults is whereas when we were raising them in youth, it's like they had to listen to us in a sense. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because we fed, clothed, and sheltered them and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? But now that they're trying to make a way for themselves, and they don't take heed to your advice, your counsel, and what you have tried to teach them all this time is mad frustrating. So, so that hasn't really changed, but it just becomes that, you know what I mean? Whereas they can choose to take heed to what you say and try to draw from the foundation of what you gave them, or not.
Right.
Or just forge their own path and way. And so again, that's part of the challenge in parenting them as adults is having to just kind of let them, okay, I have to.
Sounds like to me, brother, you saying they supposed to do what I say when they was kids, and they supposed to do what I say now.
Somewhat, but I have to, sometimes check on my wife as far as help remind her that look, we just got to let them live,
Yeah.
and go through certain things that the lesson is in going through it,
Right.
in
right.
the trial of that challenge, and they're just gonna have to see for themselves what it is we've talked about, and I think I guess the reward will come in the end where they say, you know what, Mom, Pop, I see just what y'all were talking about now. I just, some that they don't
Now,
believe
can you let me hold
the
3,000?
fire hot until what you say?
Now can you let me hold 3,000 and get out of it?
No, you're grown.
Yeah.
But yes.
And what about you, Talik? So what about, how has that relationship shifted from when Tariq was an adolescent and teenager into early adulthood?
I really don't really think it shifted. I always been, pouring into him, just showing him. I mean, just coaching him along the way. I like considered coaching now. Of course, I'm always gonna be his father, but at the same time, man, just coaching him along the way, giving him different plays to run, just showing him how to level up and execute at a high level now. But those some of the things that definitely I focus on always. I mean, in this world and in this business, man, you're gonna have different adversities coming at you, and so I just show them how it's almost like boxing, man. How to counter spar and stuff like that. How to dodge, dip. I show them how to move, and not only I just showed him because I've been at a certain level before. And I know when you move along in business, some of these same things is going to come at you. And I was in a business meeting today, and sometimes, man, when you're doing everything right, man, people start coming at you. And what that looked like. And sometimes you second guess yourself. Sometimes you fall into the category where you feel like you need to defend yourself. And, I always like to say, man, they came at Jesus, And if you're trying to be like that, if you're trying to be of a higher standard, set yourself at a higher standard.
So you're saying that in this situation, in terms of your parenting,
that's right.
That was something that Tariq had to deal with, and so you were schooling him about that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
At times I had to, and it was just a quick reminder.
Yeah.
Today when I heard it, it was some things that I shared with him.
Yeah.
I say, man, if they came at Jesus, we never stand a chance.
Yeah.
And just know that some people gonna love you, and some people gonna give you fuel to keep moving.
Yeah.
And so those are the type of things that I give them.
But what about to J Moo's point about so you say your relationship hasn't changed, I get it, but you categorize it as coaching and continuing to give plays. Are there frustration points though in your parenting as an adult with your son?
Nah, not really, because I totally understand his frustration and parents' frustration, because of course I'm a parent. But at the same time, sometimes you just say keep living, like our parents told us, right? And sometimes they don't know what that means. I shared this on another episode. I remember when Tariq got in his first car accident. I was when he was all messed up and sad and stuff, and I was like, congratulations. And that's just hardcore from a parent, right? But I knew.
Congratulated him for getting in the accident.
Yeah,
but he wasn't hurt or anything like that.
No,
so
he wasn't.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
That man was in the ambulance, bro.
He wasn't hurt, but now I know he had a place I can talk to him now.
Yeah.
Because at first, when they teenagers, they
knew it all.
They know everything. You can't tell them nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you don't know. Okay, good. Congratulations. Welcome to the club. Now I can talk to you. Now I can.
Yeah, right.
I got your full attention.
Now you got some stuff going on you haven't been through.
Right.
Hey, that's
So
the best analogy, right? Because now you can apply it to other stuff. You trust me or you don't.
That's it.
Yeah.
So John, what about?
I'm sorry, and it really changed. That's when he really was like that level of confidence. Like, okay, maybe my parents do know what they're talking about.
Got you.
You know, and sometimes it's still a quick reminder, but you know that in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John, Isaiah, Gabriel. Isaiah is what, 23?
Be 23.
Andre
in a
about
month.
29, 28, 29?
30-year-old.
Andre's 30?
Yes, sir.
Damn, you
30.
old, man. God almighty. Andre's
Yes, sir.
30. I'm sorry. I need a moment right now. Hey, you know somebody when they 8 or 9 is like, he 30? Wow.
30.
And then, of course, Gabriel's 17.
Yes, sir.
Just graduated. What's that thing, man? What's the shift been like? And what's interesting for you is you got one out of college and in the world, one in college, one was just in high school that just became an adult. It's almost like you still have 3 different parenting adult levels you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
1,000%. And going back to what James was mentioned to about the frustration, we all get frustrated with one another, right? And that's with any relationship. You get frustrated with your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, etc. And so a lot of times that's the gap between where you are and what we expect you to be, right? And sometimes that's just us having to be patient, knowing that we planted those seeds and you know, put as much sunshine. I know we done watered it, you know what I mean? And just so allowing that to grow. And sometimes it don't grow fast enough as we want to see it, you know? And so, but that frustration is natural. That's what we got to talk to each other, remind each other to be patient. You know what I mean? He's on the right track. But his track ain't always our track. And then sometimes we like, yo, don't make our mistakes, make some new stuff. You know, don't go down the right track that I went, but not these detours that we took along the way. But yeah, man, it's a challenge, man. And but it's a great thing, man. And I guess the question I have to ask everybody, when is adulthood, right? Do you turn 18 because you can go to the military, you know, fight in wars and do certain things? Does that make you an adult when you're 21, when you graduate college? So, you know, I don't think it's a black and white thing where you just click your finger and now you're an adult.
I actually do think it's 18. I think because we live in a society where that's what society says. Yeah, you're at a point where legally things change. Right. You're no longer a minor legally.
Right. Exactly.
You're an adult legally, right? And it's also a time where you're transitioning to something. You're done with the required K to 12, and you're transitioning either into higher education, into a career. So it's like, to me, it really starts the clock of game on.
So society says game is on because you're 18 and you're legal, right? Yeah. You get locked up, military, etc. But if you still in college, you're still living at home, you're not financially independent, but you're still an adult.
I think it should be 25, 26. Seriously.
Well, no, man.
You know, that's an American standard.
Something very recent that Joaquin shared with, well, I mean, not that recent, but probably a few years ago, when he said the boys can stay in the house, you know what I'm saying, whether they finish college or whatever the case, up until the age or, you know, time of 25, however long it takes them to be prepared to go out there and stay.
Right.
And on their own as adults. And I was like, damn, that is a great plan. So, you know, that's the beauty of our brotherhood and friendship, because we draw from one another like that. And I was like, man, I had never considered that, especially when you had what they call it, boomerang. You know, boomerang children.
Yeah, boomerang children.
That whole situation. He was not having it. And he's done a great job with Darius. Kari is to come at some point, I guess, or whatever as well. But, you know, of course, with my older boys, it's a little bit too late for that. So I'm looking for that damn boomerang to come. No, I'm just kidding. but at least for K-Moo, the youngest, you know, I did share when Joaquin shared that with me. I was like, I, you know, ran it past Steph, and she's like, oh yeah, that sounds great. And I told K-Moo that, but then
I think it's definitely a difference in and when you talk about the boomerang children thing, like at one point that was a negative connotation.
What is the boomerang?
So boomerang children is kids that come back home and they're living off of their parents pretty much, or they're back home.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
Right. But I think when initially people started using that, it was more so of the child that was an underachiever type scenario, right?
Right.
Now, with the way society is and as high as rent is and things of that nature, it's a different ball game, because the numbers tell you that it's not financially smart to do like our parents would have done is you turn 18, it's time to get out of the nest.
Right.
Right? And we're gonna talk a little bit later about poverty mindset and stuff like that. And a lot of that was when you live in a home where there's not a lot of resources, it is you know, they ready for you to go. Like there's one less mouth to feed and all of that stuff. I want to go back before we go back because John tried to get off the hook when we were talking about it because he raised a question after we asked him a question. Did y'all notice that?
We did.
Okay. All right, so,
One did. I was thinking
yeah,
about
it is.
that.
I know.
Yeah.
So specifically though, what are the challenges of dealing with Andre right now? What are the challenges of dealing with Isaiah? What are the challenges? And how did that relate? What's different of that? Is that different from when they were in the house or whatever?
Yeah, well, the one consistent thing with all of them is they think they know every damn thing. That's the one thing. That has never changed, right?
Okay.
And so part of that is you love their confidence, right? I love it. But you want it to be rooted into humbleness, work ethic, respect, you know, and that sort of thing. So let's say, for example, let's start with Gabriel. And this happened with all the kids, and sometimes, especially in high school, right, when they hit that growth spurt, right? And now they're our height.
Well, I think he's taller than you.
Yeah, right, exactly. And so now
he's still trying to hold on.
I catch myself at that time talking to him like he's a 25-year-old, but he's 15 or 16.
Yeah.
And I say he's full size physically, but not mentally.
Right.
That doesn't mean that he's slow, right?
Yeah.
But I'm like, all right, I gotta check back sometime because he and it's just, I let him know too. Society see you as an adult.
So he looked
you know
the
what I mean?
part.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I gotta catch myself saying, nah, but he's still a teenager, so he's not there yet. And so Isaiah he has a semester left in college, right? Similar thing, different vibe. He's quasi-independent. He's taking care of business. He's doing really good, but we still there for him, you know?
Yeah.
And so every once in a while, hey, listen, man, you zig when you could have zagged right here. Let's talk about it since it's over with.
Yeah.
He don't want to concede anything right now. But I've matured enough to walk away and let it go because I know it, you know, it'll come back around eventually, you know, instead of just getting it in. And so my 30-year-old has had excellent financial success. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so he is really, really know everything now, you know? And so part of that is I love his confidence because I know when he's out in the world, it's going to take somebody super strong to sway him into some nonsense, you know? And so I love that about him because he know who he is as a man and he know how to carry himself and conduct himself. Now the challenge come in sometimes when he come around, it's like the two bulls, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm still a big bull here, you know?
Yeah.
And so he's still kind of testing the way. Hey, look, man, when I'm 80, you can take over like that, right?
Yeah.
And so that just
80?
happens. Yeah, 80.
80.
Yeah, that's
80.
right. Yeah.
I'm gonna have 80, can't walk.
Exactly.
Don't know, my mind's still right. I'm still in charge.
Right. Exactly.
Hey, Joaquin, you being probably the most controversial parenting views on the panel.
Always.
Joaquin is the most liberal and the most conservative.
Exactly. You took the words out of my mouth. How can it be the furthest right and the furthest left?
Just say
Both people in the
unconventional.
middle.
Yeah.
Just say unconventional.
Yeah, unconventional. That's a great word.
He took the words out of my mouth.
Joaquin, you know, and they alluded to, you know, your philosophy about when you know, prepare to leave home and all of that. But I've also heard you say some things about, I told them at a certain point, I'm out of it. So that question to you, what's your thought about that, man? What were we talking about?
As I was hearing everybody talk about the frustration.
Yeah.
I didn't really have that level of frustration.
Got you.
And
Really?
I said that level.
No.
That
It
level.
was
Chill,
more.
like, really?
We ain't gonna let you get off with that one.
No, one of the reasons was because when they turned 18, and this didn't go for just Darius and Kari, but it went for Kaya and Miles and Maine and all of them. You know, my cousins. When they turned 18, I literally sat them down and literally had the conversation of, hey, I'm no longer telling any of y'all what to do. I am totally a consultant now. And my phone number has not changed since 1994. You can call it anytime you want my feedback. You can call it anytime you want some guidance and some understanding or maybe a different perspective, but I don't tell you what to do. The world now has deemed you an adult, okay? And because the world has deemed you an adult, that is when we go from mom and dad making decisions about your life to you making decisions about your life. And now that you have to make decisions about your life, you're responsible for your life. You know, I heard a saying once that says, you know, we are born looking like our parents, but we die looking like our decisions and our choices.
Yeah.
And so
There you go.
you
Well,
are
yeah,
responsible. You are responsible for the life that you create for yourself. And you can always call me for some advice. And I understand that they mature at different rates. You know, not all, you know, y'all know Darius was an adult when he was 8. You know,
Right.
Carr became an adult at 20. You know, so it was just a little bit different. And so just having the patience with each of them as they were growing up was crucial. Because like you said, Darius got all the answers and he go. Carr a lot more laid back, you know, let's see what happens, you know. And so for me, I was just like, all right, hey, you got my number. You got my number. And so just understand that, yo, you don't tell them what to do no more. Because here's why. I don't want to impede their development as adults. They have to learn to make these decisions for themselves.
Right.
They have to. I've told the story before about Carr wanting a tattoo, you know, and I just told him, listen, man, it's totally on you, you know, but I'm not paying for your tattoo. If you want a tattoo, you get one. I always say, I know when the kids are maturing, when they get to the point where they know they don't have to ask for my permission anymore. Mm-hmm. That's when you're maturing. You ain't got to ask my permission. Can you go to this place or go to that place?
Like they're trying to take life.
Yeah. So if you are still asking me for my permission, your maturity level is not there yet. Mm-hmm. Because you're 21 years old. Why are you asking me?
What if someone looks at that as being respectful versus disrespect?
Respectful versus disrespectful? There's a
far as
difference
making
between,
decisions.
But it's how you come to me. Do you come to me and say, hey, Dad, I'm thinking about, you know, going to Miami or whatever, or do you say, Dad, can I go to Miami? That's two different questions. Hey, Dad, I'm thinking about going back to school. I'm thinking about whatever I'm thinking about. What's your perspective?
But you want him to say, I'm going to Miami.
No. If you want my perspective, you can say, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? Or just go. You ain't got to ask me at all. Why would it be a sign of disrespect if he just went to Miami? He's 21.
I think John is speaking from the child's perspective.
When we were a child, we adults.
I mean, the adult perspective.
You 21. Let's say we 20.
I just told him. I just made your point. Then I said from the child perspective.
Exactly.
Because that's what a child would do.
That's what a child would do.
Exactly.
That's what a child would do.
The adult child.
Yeah. You can be an adult child because you still think you need permission.
Yeah.
No, when you were a child, me and your mama made decisions for your life. Now that you're an adult, you have to make decisions for your life.
How does that look when your adult son or daughter is still cohabitating? Well, there's still rules and guidelines within.
You mean living in your home?
Living at home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you have to understand, if you living in the house, we always had a standard for the household. Now it changed a little bit when they became adults. You know, because obviously now you're an adult. You can do some things that you couldn't do when you was 18 because you're still living here. You know, and I understand when I extend that offer to them, that, hey, you can stay here and this is what you need to be able to do before I want you to go out into the world. I understood when I made that declaration that I would have to make some accommodations for my rules. I can't have the same rules applying to a 15-year-old that I got applying to a 22-year-old.
Well, look, going back to this, I got something I want to, that you just said something that sparked something. So for people who haven't seen previous episodes, Joaquin had he told his sons that before you leave the house.
Yeah, I have requirements on what they got to do before they can leave.
What are the requirements again?
Your profession. Your chosen profession, because remember, you chose it, not me. Your chosen profession has to buy your house.
Okay.
You have to have a 750 credit score.
Okay.
And you have to be debt free.
All right, now, if you tell me that at 17, aren't you telling me what to do from 17 to that happens?
It's only a suggestion. Now,
there's a requirement.
You did call it a requirement.
No. It's a requirement for you to be able to stay here and to go. Because guess what? It's a requirement to stay and to go. Because guess what? If I see you blowing your money, if I see you being irresponsible, then you know what? You have to go.
But to that point, you've told them what to do.
That's lukewarm right there.
I've made suggestions. They don't have to do it because they don't have to stay
But they
here.
gotta get out. So, but if they don't do it, they gotta get out.
You got to do this because I'm preparing you. You know why? Because at 27, you're going to need a safety net at some point. You're going to need one.
This is where I'm at with it. I get
And
that point. Where I'm at with it is underneath that, indirectly, does that still make them not see themselves as adult because they're being guided by what the requirement that you have?
Listen, it's no different than the principles that we taught them when they were 7, 8, 9, 10, about work ethic and discipline. These are some of the same principles. Now we just giving you some life principles as you move out into the world. But you don't have to be a generous and caring person when you go out into the world. But that's what me and your mama taught you.
Yeah, gotcha.
You don't have to be a thoughtful citizen and see the world as, your oyster and helping other people and making the world a better place. You don't have to see the world that way, even though that's what we taught you.
Right.
You can choose to do what you want to do.
Right.
This is what we taught you. So the financial requirements, so to speak, this is what we taught you. But you don't have to do that. You can choose to go out here into the world and live your life as you see fit.
Right.
Right. Gotcha.
However you want. You still got the choice. But through my years of experience and wisdom, I think it's wisdom, I would make some suggestions. You would be wise to follow. Mm-hmm. But if you choose not to,
don't come asking for no damn.
So if he chooses to go out and travel or get a roommate and work and hang out, and then at 23, 24, 25, mom, dad, it ain't work out like I thought.
No.
You're not gonna let him come back at that point. Why is that? Why?
See, I'm gonna let you know when you making that bad decision. Hey,
But sometimes they gotta smell it. They don't believe it until they smell it.
Well,
sometimes they gotta go through it.
Let me say that.
You know what I mean?
Believe it is hot.
Sometimes they gotta play through the pain.
You know what? I tell them all the time. You play football, broke arms come with it. Broke arms come with the touchdowns. Yeah. So if you want to play the game the way you want to play it, then you got to suffer the consequences.
So what I hear, you're not going to push him out. But once you out, you out. You ain't raising no prodigal. I can't even say it. Prodigal son.
Prodigal.
If you do it the way that's designed, when you come back, if you come back, it will be for a good reason. I'll give you an example. I remember when my wife and I had to move back into my in-laws' house. All right? Mm-hmm. I got 2 kids, 28 years old, and we got to go back to my in-laws. All right? So this is what we're talking about. And I remember I was struggling with that decision. I'm like, man, I got to go back to my in-laws, man. I done let my family down. And I talked to my Uncle Ed. And he was like, what? You upset? I said, yeah. He was like, nephew, the reason you got to go back is because you just sold a house and you haven't bought your new house yet. It's only for 90 days. He was like, that's a good thing. He said, they're glad you want to come back. They're glad to have you back. So if you have to go back because you're doing something good and the timing is off, he said, you are welcome back with open arms.
Right.
Now, if you was out here drinking and smoking and you lost your job and not taking care of your family and you got to go back, that's a different ball game.
We're not going to talk about drinkers and smokers on this show.
Get him, Alley Pat.
He could do some gambling or something.
Get him, Alley Pat.
Gangster behavior.
Shout out.
So if you got to go back because you being irresponsible and neglectful, that's a problem.
Right.
But if you're going back because you're doing a good thing, hey, we welcome you with open arms. And that made me feel so good. And it was actually the truth.
Yeah.
Because I had a conversation with my father-in-law and they was glad we were there. They were glad they got to see the kids every day. They were glad about all of that,
And they understood this was a transition period.
Exactly.
Just like Uncle Ed made clear that this is a trend. Hey, bro, the same thing. I moved back with my mother intentionally to save money to buy a home.
Right.
So I was paying her a little bit of money, less than what the world was charging rent, giving her some, stacking some money. I wasn't home a year. Wasn't home. I don't know if I was there 6 months. and bought a home.
Yeah.
And I was so thankful and grateful to be able to do that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and when we start this show, I thought about it from our kids' perspective and then even my perspective as a 50-year-old, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, dude, I want that 71-year-old cat to talk to, right?
Yeah.
I love to have a grandfather, you know, or you know, I miss that community for real because I don't have it in my life.
Mhm.
And so whether my father who's alive, but you know, we really don't have that relationship, I would still love to have that collaboration, parenting, or what have you, even at our age.
Because you
feel
love
me?
to get his perspective.
And I know I'm still learning, I'm still growing, and I respect my elders and the wisdom that's there.
And I think if we do it right as parents and fathers, and particularly, they're not we've had the transition. I always like to say there has to be a transition from adult child to adult. And sometimes parents don't always make that transition.
Let's say adult man. Adult
man.
Woman.
Yeah. They have to make that transition. And sometimes the parents don't make that transition and they keep treating them like they're a little kid. Like, y'all ain't 15 no more.
Yeah.
It's an adult. You're talking to another adult now.
Right.
You're talking to another man now.
Right.
And so you have to be respectful of the fact that you're talking to a man. So when you do that, you're like, okay, you know, I'm talking to a man. I'm going to approach you differently.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not telling you what to do.
Yeah.
You know, I understand that you got free will.
Right.
So that's what's big for me. So,
I got a question.
Hold on. Is your question mine? Because
No, it's definitely not yours.
no, well, no, I didn't want to get too far away before Nuevo spoke to his. You putting it to all of us, brother. What's up with you?
I think y'all sort
that's
of
dope enough.
pretty similar. What I was gonna say is similar to Joaquin. As my children got to be like when they, in their late teen years, 15, 16, 17, the way I would start to prepare them to think like as an adult was when they came to me, I would say stuff like, "Why are you asking me? That's a decision you can make."
Okay.
You understand what I'm
Right.
saying? I was putting the decision back on them on purpose, intentionally. Like, why are you asking me that? It wasn't disrespectful. I was just saying, just so you know, you can make that decision.
right.
You can do that. You can decide that for yourself.
I
I was giving them permission.
pushing the transition.
Yeah, absolutely. I was giving them permission to
the
think like
transition.
an adult.
Exactly.
And letting them know I got my own stuff to think about. Like, that's something you can handle. Like, if it's something you can't handle, let me know. But you can make that decision. Why are you asking me? And then they would say, that's why I understood what you were saying. What if they're trying to be respectful? Because, like, that's what the men would say. Well, I was just, sharing. I was just like, no, I'm letting you know that's your decision to make.
Right.
At this point, you decide that.
And sometimes piggyback on that is like, hey, maybe I can help you gather more information, but it's still your decision. Are you looking for more information or are you looking for me to make a decision for you?
Yeah.
Because it's your decision. But if you need some more facts around it to make it easier to go this way, that way, I can help you with it.
And I would have to say it really wasn't larger decision. It was like basic stuff that they still come to you for. If it was something like that, I would have said, now I would do what I do now. Even now, the way I position it is, this is what I would think about. When they come to me and they're talking about something, I don't say, man, you should do this, this, and this. I would say, look, let me tell you what I would have done. Because I like information. I go get information. These are the factors you should think about, and then whatever you do, you're gonna be good. And I sometimes say, hey, if it doesn't work out, you still gonna be good. That's how we grow. That's how we learn. You know what I'm saying? So
for sure.
Just keep putting the decision back so that mentally they feel like an adult.
Yeah, you force them to dig a little deeper.
Yeah, I got your back.
It's strengthening that
I
muscle
got your
too.
back, but that's your call.
Yeah.
And empower them and say, you know what? Because really, man, if you ask me, I'm gonna be telling you based on how I grew up, and that's a whole other set of circumstances.
That's a real point right there, because one thing that I always told them, and it sounds counterintuitive when you hear it, but I always said to my boys, as you grow up, there's gonna be a time when you're gonna have to learn when not to listen to me.
Right. Yeah.
And what I'm saying to them is, you have to understand, I have a set of limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
And if I'm putting all that on you, I'm putting them limits on you too.
Yeah.
And so, I'm always going to try to give you the best advice that I have. But if you look at my life and you say, I want to do something greater than my father, greater than my mother, if you have to understand, I ain't going to be able to give you some of those points of advice because my life is what it is based on my limited beliefs.
Yeah.
And I don't want to put that off on you. So if you want to do great stuff, you're going to have to figure out when not to listen to me, son.
Right. And look, the Bible says it like this: old men for counsel, young men for war. Right? We gonna give you the safe way.
Yeah.
But life is
'Cause we
about
gonna
taking
protect you.
risk. With like
Absolutely.
as much risk as we'll still take now, I wouldn't want my son taking some of the risks I take. Because we worried about him.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So,
Right.
but if you put it back in their court to say, hey, that's your risk to take it. You
Yeah.
understand? We're not going to even know, because when you take risk, we take risk when internally we're comfortable with taking the risk. So I can't take that risk for you. I can't tell you to take it. But if you feel it and I've told you otherwise, run with what you're feeling.
Right.
100% of the time. And the other thing I would say to that, James, is and brothers, is that you use the word coach. I really do see myself as a mentor and a coach. I'm your parent for life.
Oh, for sure.
But I am a mentor and a coach to help you and support you in getting where you want to get by providing you with information, resources if I have it, to guide your plan for your life. You understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
Knowing I'm okay with you feeling some pain, because it's impossible to avoid.
Exactly.
And so I can't get caught up in your pain to your point. Hey, you just got to sit in it right now.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Hey, yeah, it's like that.
Mhm.
It hurt, don't it?
Yeah.
Time will heal it.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And I'm gonna finish this segment. Then I want to shift the focus of the discussion a little bit with two things. You said keep living. When you get that rebellion about they think they know it all, and I really don't even know what that means anymore, to be honest. We say they think they know everything. What does it actually mean?
What we really saying is
What we
they
saying
not,
is they don't
listening
agree
to
with me.
They-
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
listening
That's
to
what I'm
me.
saying.
They ain't
Like,
listening
Right.
to
really,
me.
we think we know everything. You see what I'm saying? So that's what, in their
Right.
16, 17-year-old mind, it's not that they know everything. They're just following the best thing that they think should work based on their understanding. They don't understand everything you understand.
And that's why it limits the frustration.
Exactly. And so, and the other thing is, in terms of their own life or their own mind and how they grow and how they develop, we getting separated. This is what I was saying. You said keep living. That's an old saying.
Yeah.
My wife's uncle, and I'm guided by that because I was a young rebellious revolutionary out of
Was.
We've been arguing all weekend.
Right? And I used to be so frustrated. I think I might have shared this with Joaquin John or something at one point. I used to be like, man, all of these famous writers that I like, Amiri Baraka and all these activists, Haki Matabuti, they not doing nothing now. I was in my 20s and had read all this stuff that fired me up about them. And I said, they ain't teaching at colleges. They done left the revolution. And he said, keep living. Right? In which I can tell you right now, I'm far less a revolutionary now than I was, because life will do that to you. And then the second thing he would say all the time is, and I told my sons, and we share this, when stuff happens and they don't want to listen, and it's a universal law that they're ignoring,
Right.
that's scary. When you know it's a
Right.
universal law and you know the law gonna bite them.
Right.
And you want to say, I'm telling you, you're going to get hit. And I just say, he said it like this. It might not rain today. It might not rain tomorrow. It might not rain the next day, or the next day. But you can bet your ass it's going to rain again.
Absolutely.
Right.
That law going to hit you. Karma,
Right,
whatever
right.
we want to call it.
Right.
I want to stop right now and midway through to remind you this is the B2M Crew podcast. You can catch us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube is our page where we have all of our episodes published. This episode is brought to you by Win Productions. We're down here recording in the brand new studio down in Fayetteville, Georgia. And also our continuous sponsor, the Code Building out of Charlottesville, Virginia.
Center of
where
Developing
you can
Entrepreneurs.
Get, the Center for Developing Businesses, Entrepreneurs, wonderful meeting space with great amenities. Fellas, I want to shift a little bit.
Oh, real quick, chill.
Go
What
ahead.
did you lose
but
your
go
thought?
ahead, bro. Yeah,
Oh,
go ahead.
lose your
man.
thought earlier. My bad,
Go
fam.
Yeah, man. So
Hey, Talik, I'm sorry. How they contact you to do a podcast?
man, y'all contact us at 754-225 2805.
And it's not just podcasts; it's any type of media production, right?
Yeah, we
Commercials,
do.
all of that stuff.
Yeah, but I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So hey, adults at the house, right? They're adults. We're not talking to them like kids anymore, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct? We all in agreement?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Two major things, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if they want to have sex in the house,
Mhm.
right? Which is real, right? And bring some babies in the house. Let's have that talk.
That's easy for me.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
That's easy.
No, I'm just saying.
But
But it need to be out here though.
So tell me why it's easy. What is it?
because
No.
once again,
But if he has to ask your permission,
no,
No, to have sex in my house?
Listen,
Yeah.
once
You
again,
need to go get a space for yourself to do that.
once again,
Let's get it.
once again,
Look at Ty.
we have to make this transition. And here is a principle that I instilled in them from a very young age. I always told them, don't bring no baby in this house if you ain't bought no wife in this house first. All right? Like straight up. Don't come here with no baby if you have not come here with a wife first.
So they could get married.
but
and
if he has to ask
No,
you,
no.
he's not mature
So-
enough to do it. So
No,
I'm just gonna do it.
you're saying ask him
So-
to
so-
have sex in the
so-
house, John. Is that what you're talking about?
So once
That was
again,
his premise. If he has to ask, he's not ready for it.
now listen. We have a set of standards. We have a set of standards that
Right.
exist within my house. It's a set of standards that I live by, my wife gonna live by, and all that stuff. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna go to your house and have sex in
That's
your
the
house.
thing. The only
And
person
I'm-
to have sex in your house is you, right?
Right. I'm 50 years old, but I'm not gonna have sex in your house. I'm 50 years old, but I'm not gonna come to your house and have sex in your house.
Right.
I'm not gonna do that.
Right.
All right. So just as I wouldn't do that at
Well,
your
I'm glad
house,
you let me know if I ain't never having to spend the night with you. I need to just chill.
Hampton Inn,
You got all that
Super
big,
8,
nice, beautiful house.
Doubletree.
Let's get it on. It's
You got all
spicy
them
in
8
here.
bedrooms.
Yeah, now,
It is
hey,
spicy in
hey,
the.
some people they cool with that,
Yeah, you can make love with your wife in my house
Thank
in the guest bedroom.
but my wife not gonna
But
make
not all
love.
over the
My
house.
wife not gonna make love at your house, so we're gonna be out of luck.
That's between y'all.
Hey, but we talking about the kids
You
now.
talking-
Let's
Oh, yeah,
put it
let's
on the
get back to that.
kids, man.
It's just a standard. It's a standard that
A
that I have
adult.
set,
A good one.
and I've set that adult. So even not even if some little cousins came to stay, you know, I don't want that going on at my house. You know, that's I don't want that going on.
So if
at
your
my
cousin bring a girlfriend, she can't stay.
house. We're gonna have to talk about that. We
So-
really are gonna have to talk about that.
So
This is my thing about that. The answer with me be no, you can't. That's not appropriate, in my opinion, for you to have sex in my house. Let me tell you
But they
why.
grown.
If you're grown and if you're that grown, you shouldn't be in my house.
What
And you
is
should
that?
You should know to get a hotel room.
What is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
grown
that's what I'm
mean?
saying.
If you
I'm
grown,
saying
you
you
should know to get a hotel
if you
room
want to do it that bad, then you need to create the space for you to do it.
in your environment.
Yeah.
So,
So-
go and get your hotel room,
Yeah.
Mr.
Oh,
Grown.
so
I
now-
tell my kids all the time, grown mean on your own.
Yeah.
All right? Grown mean on your own.
So you're
So
20.
you're not fully grown till you taking care of yourself on your own.
So if you have a 25-year-old living at home, you gonna tell him you're not a grown man.
No, I'm just telling you, you can't bring some woman in here having sex. I'm
No,
gonna tell
no,
them
but
that.
you just said
No.
grown is being on your own.
Yeah, you're not
It-
100% grown.
So how
'cause you're
does
not
it
taking
affect
care of
his
yourself
development?
yet.
Okay.
You're not taking care of yourself yet.
But
Now,
it's
but I am helping you work toward taking care of yourself. But not only that, I'm helping you and setting you up so that you're not a boomerang child, that you're not a boomerang young person, so that when you leave, you are good to go on your own.
all right,
You're not
question.
gonna be coming back.
Question. If your son, like, yo, man, you know what I'm saying? Yo, shorty ready, it's on, it's popping. You know what I mean? Mom and dad and him don't know the room closed. And then you hear something. What you gonna do?
Knock on the door.
And then what?
Hey, what's going on in there?
And if they,
You know what's
I just
going
What's going
said-
on in there?
on. You know what's
Hey,
going on.
I mean, like,
What's going on in there?
You know what's
Now,
hey,
going on.
man.
if she a-
Hey, the B2M getting the spicy,
If she
baby.
a woman with any decency, she would not. She would be embarrassed.
Maybe that's why he bought her over there. They ain't always gotta have decency. I don't know. I'm just asking
Well,
because
then I'm
this
gonna
is.
question my son's judgment
I'm
about
just.
who
I'm
he
just
choosing
asking.
to be with.
See, but I don't even think that would actually happen because
No, but-
he set him up. Now the most realistic scenario that I could imagine is if we not at the house and they are, they'll probably go ahead and get it in. But they're not going to do it at night when they know people are there. They have,
Hey,
I
bro.
believe, they've been brought up most respectfully to not do so. And as well as, you know,
I'm
what he
agreeing
taught
with
them.
you, James, but sometimes I'd be like, this is a generational thing, because I think in general, we did inappropriate nonsense. However, we did have respect for our elders to
Who,
try
us?
to hide. Yeah.
Us?
Yes, sir.
The B2M.
But now, you're right, it is kind of a different thing, right? Like, even when the teachers turn their back, we might pass notes and talk. But now, in the teacher face, you know, it's a whole lot of disrespect. So
Right.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but maybe we are.
Oh,
So-
right. And that could be the case for some out there in the audience and everything. However, that's why we're sharing how we
Hey,
How we
did it. How we did
How
it.
we.
How we
now,
doing
I
it,
will say,
how we
here's
would
an
do it.
area in which I relaxed my rules as they became adults. Here's an area. And part of that was the legal system, you know. But I was absolutely, totally, ain't no smoking weed up in this crib. That ain't happening. You ain't smoking weed in the crib. And I know we got a great big old nice screen in back porch. You're not doing it back there either. I don't want none of that. Ain't none of it happening. That's how it was. But as the laws have changed, my son's still at home. And I'm like, okay, listen. If you want to smoke, you can go do it on the back porch.
So what
I'm
I hear
cool
you
with that.
saying is the laws dictate your morals.
No, well,
I think so.
Don't mess.
Man, you,
No,
you,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I hear you
He
saying.
in
blowing
some
up.
instances, yes.
Oh.
But also, I understand every law is not moral. So I'm okay with
Oh.
that. So in some instances, yeah. You know,
So
I'm
the
like,
weed was
here's a
immoral, but now it's
guideline.
moral.
Here's a guideline. I don't want you putting our house at risk. All right? Because there's a law in place. Don't put our household at risk. But once you're not putting our household at risk, now you can go on the back porch. Simple
Hey,
as that.
look. I know that's an interesting topic, but I don't want to get too far because I do think it's important with some time left for us to give some advice, because we talked about what we would do, but thinking tangibly about how parents could possibly look at this. And the other thing is, I also wanted to talk about the positive aspects of parenting as an adult, which we've not done. We talked about all the frustration points, but
Okay.
we haven't talked about the beauty of that relationship if it's done appropriately as well.
And I
So-
still got one more question for you
Okay,
though.
okay.
Before we go there, I always, I love the animal kingdom and nature stuff, and we talk about manliness, to be a man, testosterone, right? And so when you at home and that young lion is growing his mane out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's some of that natural conflict that's just strictly testosterone. It's natural, right?
Mhm.
He's not trying to be disrespectful. So I think that will inevitably happen at some point, right?
Correct.
And that's when, hey, this is my territory. This is my home. This is my realm.
That's my juice. in the
Right,
refrigerator.
exactly.
My chips.
And so what do you do? How do you handle that natural conflict? That don't mean he's wrong or we're wrong. How do you handle that natural conflict to where now you need to get your own territory? Because this is mine.
My sons and I, we go back and forth. We banter back and forth. And that is done with them understanding that a level of respect always has to be maintained. So as long as the level of respect is there, let's dig into whatever it is we going back and forth. We can go toe to toe on this issue for as long as you want to. As long as you want to. But because I taught them coming up, once again, it's a guiding principle that I taught them. Always be ready to challenge authority, but make sure you challenge authority in its proper context, in the right way, with the proper respect. Well, guess what? That go for me too. When I teach them that, I have to know that they're going to use that against me.
Demonstrate.
Right.
If I teach you to challenge authority, I should expect you to challenge me. Now, when you challenge me, just like I taught you to challenge the outside world with respect, challenge me with respect, and now let's go back and forth. I told my kids all growing up, I will never, ever, and you can ask them, they're 29 and 25, I will never tell you to do something because I told you so. I will never say that to you. I hated that when I was a kid. I'm not going to tell you that. All right? You know why? Because whatever I'm telling you, it is well reasoned out and well thought out. I'm not on just some, I don't have the ability to articulate myself and communicate a proper message to understand why I'm telling you something. There's a reason I'm telling you this. And if you want to know, I'll tell you exactly why I'm telling you this. And I think when you do that, that is what builds their trust in your wisdom.
Right.
So now they come to you for that guidance, because they ain't never like, man, Pop's just tripping. They know. They know why I'm telling them something.
One of the things when I had that banter with my boys too is sometimes I nip it in the bud as far as, hey, listen, man, I'm not arguing facts with you. What you talking about is factual. Looked it up, it's factual. Now let's argue concepts. Let's honor how we make certain decisions. Let's argue other intangibles, right? We can have those debates. But when it's a fact, I'm not gonna sit here and waste 10 minutes about arguing about some facts.
Right, yeah.
Well, I think too, in even having that discussion, I heard someone say there is a difference between what is true and truth. All right? Truth does not change. Sun rises in the east, sets in the west. 2 + 2 is 4. Truth, that does not change. What is true changes. We here filming this podcast in Fayetteville. Okay, that's true right now. Tomorrow, that's not going to be true. We're going to be somewhere else tomorrow.
Right.
Okay? So we have to understand and communicating with our kids when we're talking to them. Hey, understand when you're talking to me, whether you're arguing what is true and what is truth.
Right.
Because when we understand those principles, and now we're going back and forth, it makes for a healthier discussion. And now we can make progress on this discussion. It's just not left with, oh, well, it is what it is. I hate that shit.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah, we agree to disagree. It is what it is. You got your opinion, I got mine. No. Let's keep going back and forth.
Hey, man, sometimes when people,
sometimes it's gonna be like that.
Hey, sometimes people got to lick their wounds and get back and step back and regroup.
That's
And
true.
when
That's
you
why
saying
people
we
hate
agree to
going at it with
disagree,
me, because I don't let people. I be trying to trap them in the corner.
oh man, hey,
No,
they
I
got to get
understand.
out of there and heal up a little bit, then and regroup and let it set in sometimes. So whenever you hear that, that's how you prevent yourself from being upset about it. You know what I mean? Agree to disagree, or it is what it is.
I think when people say that because they want to stop the discussion because they all out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all out. So if you all out, I win.
But see,
Not really.
right. Hey,
Not really.
but-
I mean, y'all just
You all out. If I got 10 facts and you got 8, I win.
now see, you may have one for that moment, right?
That's right.
However, if they go back and study or learn more, and may come back with something else.
Right.
That's
And
why
when they come back and they got 11 and I still got 10, they win.
So that's why I always say the end goal is not to dominate the other person in relating to your father and son scenario. The end goal is to collaborate and come with a greater good, a greater understanding, a greater
Absolutely.
knowledge base.
I think that's the win.
Right.
It ain't the score.
Well, but see, when you do it, if somebody don't want to agree to the collaboration and the end goal, then that's on them. That's when they say it is what it is, because they don't want to agree.
They're handling that natural, healthy conflict.
Yeah.
Right? Not that
and we can
demoralizing conflict.
Agree and and disagree on this one.
There you go. It is what it is, man.
Hey, it is what it. Go ahead, no way with black
No,
man.
I was just gonna say, and I'm just gonna say it like this, because we running out of time, we're not gonna have time for us all to debrief on it. But in the parenting relationship of adult children, there's a lot of struggle on the respect piece. I just chime in and say, with me, it was this. When you talk about when they get to that point, is I reminded them not at 20 and 21, but at 15, 16, and 17, there's a correct way to respond when you upset about something that respects me, and that you have a duty to respect me, and that it should never be any disrespect. And that also beyond that, I understand, though, that doesn't mean that there are going to be times where you have to show that respect and I'm wrong. Do you understand what I'm saying? I could be wrong, but you're still, because of your role in our relationship, gonna have to respect me and not lose the respect in terms of how we interact about that particular thing. And so it's not gonna be a challenge issue to the point, because they're gonna have to stand down. That's the bottom line. If we're in my house, you have to stand down.
Even when you're wrong?
Even when I'm wrong?
Yeah.
Stand down doesn't mean we don't discuss what's right. It means that you have to humble yourself to know that it's a power dynamic. We don't have the same in this house, in terms of how we approaching it, you know, just because you're right doesn't mean me and you're going to get in an argument about it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, we can agree to disagree, and that's what's going to happen.
That's what he was just saying. I was like, that's going to be real.
But I thought you was wrong. I thought we had established you're wrong.
I could be wrong is what I'm saying.
So if you could be wrong, we've discussed this before. You said you don't run the house. You said truth run the house.
Truth, okay.
So if truth run the house.
First of all, when I say truth run the house, I'm really talking about me and my wife.
Okay.
And I said
that don't extend to them?
It should, shouldn't it?
No, hold on. This is what I'm saying, though. What are we talking about, though? Are we talking about them trying to make some decision for my house based on what they think should happen for my house and I'm going to change? Or are we talking about governing how people are treated and what's right about particular things like that?
Well,
you understand what I'm
when
saying?
you said I'm wrong, I didn't know what you were referring to.
No, I didn't say I was wrong.
I said you said we have going back and forth and I'm wrong about something.
No, what I was saying is I was letting them know I could be wrong.
Right.
If in the midst of that argument, I'm not thinking I'm wrong, right?
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying? If I'm wrong and I know that, then I'm gonna back down and say, hey, I was wrong.
Okay. I'm glad you respected
me when I was wrong.
That's why I want to go. How we handle it when we wrong.
Oh, I apologize immediately.
Does that go for all of us up here?
Oh, for sure.
If we are wrong,
what?
Do we acknowledge it and apologize?
What? No, I'm just
absolutely.
When it happens, I apologize.
I'm always that guy that like, man, I might not have all the right answers. I might be wrong. I mean, I'm like, I'm always in the position to grow. Period. Point blank.
Right.
That's just me.
Because that's the lesson for the children.
That's
even
me.
as adults,
period.
that they may not have.
I still got room
yet.
Bro,
to grow.
I think it's super important that when we are wrong and we come to understand that we are wrong, that we give them that victory you talking about.
Oh yeah, you got to.
You know what I mean? Because that then is what makes them respect.
Oh, for
Have
sure.
the respect for you to come back and be able to go back and forth with the dialogue.
And you teach them a valuable lesson about apologizing and being humble yourself. But look, let's do this. In the last few minutes, man, I just want everybody to give some advice because I think my relationship with my children as an adult is one of the richest relationships in my life. Notwithstanding any frustration. And any frustration is just based on you being worried as a parent, right? Because they're doing great. Even the stuff that I get frustrated about, when I look at some other folks and what they got going on, it's a small problem compared to what a lot of people dealing with.
Right.
But I have 3 young men that I consider to be, Talik not gonna like this, friends, companions in life, man, that hold me accountable just like y'all do, that look out for me like y'all do, and have fun with me like y'all do in some of the ways, right? But it's one of the richest relationships being able to enjoy them as adults because I treat them like adults. And can everybody chime on that on our way out on this one?
Yeah, absolutely. John?
Absolutely, man. So my baby boy just graduated and my 22-year-old couldn't make it. He was in Miami. But just to hang out with Andre, man, and understand we have a adult man-to-man relationship, you know. And to, again, for any of them to confide in me about what's happening and what's going on, you know, just looking for some advice, that means the world, you know. That means the world to me. You know, one of the best compliments Gabriel gave me, we was talking about the sex talk in another episode. Mm-hmm. And I was like, Gabriel, do you remember us having a specific, you know, some people said they just said 15 or 16 or 13, whatever. He said, Dad, we always talked about that. You know, and that made me feel great, right? Because I didn't put a timestamp, but this is gonna happen at this age. And so I would like to think that it applied to other advice in life as well. You know, what have you, what I expect from you as a man, what you're supposed to do. And the other thing I just want to point out, as far as my last comment, is what I mentioned earlier, is that they do what we do, right? The fundamentals don't never change. And so if you have your mother, your father, your grandma, your grandfather, a great, awesome auntie, your uncle, or a great neighbor, take them out for lunch, man, and show them that respect. And get that wisdom from them, because we can't expect our kids to show us that same respect and try to seek us for guidance if we're still not doing that ourselves and showing respect to our elders. And that's what we have to demonstrate and do that. And we can't just do it with the rich auntie. You know what I mean? We can't. That's easy, right? We got to do it with all of us.
Sucking up to rich out.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's nuggets of wisdom everywhere.
Absolutely.
And you don't know how much you can make a difference in their life, you know, as at our age, because we still looking for that knowledge as well. And so hopefully our kids will do that with us.
Chill.
Cool, man. Yeah, definitely, man. No sex at the house, no sex period, all that good stuff. Have a wife, no, don't bring no babies in. Love my son dearly, man. Definitely have a wonderful time, spending a ton of time with him, pouring in him, man, and just sharing his life journey, man, and just so proud of him, and just like one of the few people I know who actually living his dream. That's very important to me. So, shout outs to my
Absolutely.
son.
Joaquin?
Oh man, I think I got the best relationship with both of my boys. I think they're very different though. I think, and as the saying goes, different is not deficient. You know, I talk to Darius all the time, constantly, all the time. And I could be in the house with Kari and not see him for 2 days, you know. But we have an amazing relationship. The other day, my wife asked me, she said, what do you want for Father's Day? Now, you know what most of us want. We good. We don't want nothing. We fine.
Really?
Yeah, me. And I told her, I said, I already got my Father's Day gift. I said, today, when I was out on the porch this morning at 9 o'clock, Kari came outside and sat on the porch with me for 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
And we literally sat on the porch for 3 hours and talked 2 days ago. And
You ready to go get sodas and everything and bring outside?
Yeah, the only reason to mess it up because I had to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
You know, and we sat there and talked for 3 hours. She was like, what y'all talk about? I was like, nothing but everything.
Yeah.
We talked about nothing but everything. And that was one of the best gifts I could get. And Darius is always on my phone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just think we have an amazing relationship of respect and trust and support. You know, we support one another.
Yeah.
Totally. Whatever they need, I got your back, bro. Whatever you, as long as you're doing right. You start doing some, you know, some ill stuff, hey, you're on your own. Do that foolishness on your own.
Yeah.
But as long as you're doing right, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
J-Mo?
Yes.
It is.
Really, with everyone, I think what stands out most, and actually my wife and oldest, the bonus son, Courtney, reminded me of this the other day because we've talked about it for now probably over a year or so, and I think Joaquin was somewhat surprised and was like, hey, man, so why? Yeah, that's great. My adopting him as an adult adoption. And it just spoke a lot to.
We need another hour, don't we?
To with regards.
And James, let's clarify. He's not 18 years old.
Yeah, Courtney's 35.
Wow.
Yeah, 35. And he's reminded me because, and I was like, feeling so bad that I do have the paperwork. I just have to get some, notarization and then whatever, continue with the process. But son, I'm going to do that. I promise you. This
so
week.
to you, that speaks to the quality of the adult
this week.
relationship.
Yes, it was quality of it.
Kudos, let's give up to that for sure.
Like for real, what 30-something-year-old even thinking about adopt? Like there's some value in that that means something, and he wants that. Yeah. You know what I mean? And what he's saying is, let's make what we have legally official.
Right.
I know what we got. But now let's make it legally official.
Right.
There's nothing that can be better than that.
And the heavy part, that's independent of mama, right? Love mama dearly, you know what I mean? But that has nothing to do with that. Yeah. This is y'all relationship.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And so that's kind of heavy, yeah. And so and then again with all my boys, and then I'd love to definitely make the relationship with my daughter much better, even as an adult, and still letting her know. And reminding her that I'm still your father. If you need me for whatever it is, you may need, I'll still try to parent in that way, and make the most and a better situation of that too. So.
And the great thing is, I'm gonna share this weekend.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's
God
the
willing.
plan.
Extend
Sometimes
grace,
it
that's
ain't.
right. God
It's the
willing.
B2M Crew podcast, talking to you about parenting adult children. We're down here broadcasting from Win Productions in Fayetteville, Georgia, brand new studio. Always our continuous sponsors, the Code Building. Another great episode of 5 black men who've been friends for over 40 years, coming to you and letting you into our relationship and into our discussions. Joaquin, you got something to take us out with?
I almost forgot it. Now, in the words of the great Frederick Douglass, it is easier to raise strong children than to repair broken men. Peace.
Another one.
And I won't stop until I'm winning. I'ma show 'em how true and independent get it. Whole game changed by the time I'm finished with it. We about to get this business handled in a minute. And I won't stop until I'm winning. They don't want me in the office.